Greetings, YouTube. Sorry the video is a little late today. I had a dentist appointment and I had to go get blood drawn, and she had to draw from both arms because apparently my left arm does not bleed. I had someone ask me a question in my weird question video the other day that actually had nothing to do with weird questions, but it was a question. And I will read a quote from said question. Can I also make a RPG vid request? Could you please do one on whether your preferred games that prioritize storytelling over rules, like World of Darkness, or vice versa, 3rd edition? I'm not sure if you've already done this. Now, I find this particular question interesting, and the way it's worded. It seems to be a binary situation. The person is putting forth this question, and they're saying, okay, you've got the RPG role-playing heavy rules light games here, and you have the more heavily rules-oriented games that I guess would be lighter on the role-playing. Now, I've reviewed all kinds of role-playing games on this channel. I will be doing more in the future. I own hundreds of role-playing games, and they run the entire gamut of mechanical complexity. Way over here, you've got things like Twerp and Fudge. Very simple. As simple as you can get and still be considered a game mechanic. Then you move over this way a little bit, and you got things like Savage World. A little more complex, but still what would be construed as relatively rules light. And you got stuff in the middle like Harp, D20, including Pathfinder, BRP, things like that. And then you move over to the far end, which is things like Hero. And I apologize, any fans of Hero out there. I'm not trying to insult your game, but Hero strikes me a whole lot like doing calculus for fun. Now, I've known people who do calculus for fun because they're geniuses. It's not my idea of a good time. But regardless of the complexity of game you play, from Hero to Fudge, the complexity of the rules has nothing to do, as far as I'm concerned, with your ability to roleplay with those rules. That roleplaying is divorced completely. There is complete separation between whether you can roleplay well and the rules themselves. Now, having said that, I like a set of rules which I consider turnkey. I open the book, I stick my key, I go boom, it functions, and I go. It has a rule for pretty much every situation I can encounter. I don't have to come up with things on the spot. I do not want to be making judgment calls like that on the fly. I want consistency from game to game. If everyone in the group has the book or access to the book, we all know where we are. We all know we're on the same page, literally. That's why I like Pathfinder, the D20. To me, that's my sweet spot. That's the spot I love. Enough complexity to cover almost everything I could possibly want, and not too much complexity that I feel it bogs down. Yes, there is stat blocks that are a bit long. I freely admit this. But I can create a thumbnail stat block for an NPC or in a paragraph that's got the vital information I need to give me an idea how to play that character. Then I can fudge my way through the rest if it's not there. Or I can just use a full stat block if I choose. And with the access to digital documents and things like that, having a full stat block is not difficult to have it on your page or in your notes or in your online document. But none of these things have anything to do with role-playing. You can have in-depth, involved, complete immersion in Fudge. And you can be playing Hero, and it's like reading a spreadsheet. And it's got nothing to do with the mechanics. It's got to do with how you choose to bring your role-playing to the game. Do you have your role-playing hat on today? Can you convince the people at the table around you that you are that character? All right. I actually don't have any dice out to show you this, but I used to play a character named Vokan. He's a dwarf. And he used to wear his beard in 3 braids. Okay? And each braid ended in a semi-precious gem. Garnets. And whenever he talked, he had a habit where he would take one of the gems and he would play with it. He would fiddle with it as he talked because he didn't feel comfortable talking in front of people. And when I played this character, when I was talking as Vokan, I would pick up a clear red die 20 and I would play with it in my hand. I would, using the physical affectations of the character right there at the table. And that had nothing to do with the mechanics, other than the fact that the game I was playing had access to D20s and they were handy right there. That's the only connection whatsoever my role-playing had with the game I was playing in. I've played 2nd edition D&D and convinced an entire group of people that I was insane. Not that the character I was playing was insane, but that I had gone off the deep end. I had put myself so far into a character that I was gone. I scared them. It was beautiful. And it had nothing to do with the mechanics, because let's face it, and I used to play the heck out of 2nd edition D&D. That was one messed up, inconsistent system. All right? So you definitely can't say that the system helped in any way, shape, or form with your role-playing. You could role-play playing poker if you want to, though it would be a stretch to find the justification. But it's probably possible. So I really find this question interesting. So to answer your question, I have never actually played any of the old World of Darkness games. I purchased the Werewolf book, the first printing of the Werewolf book. I read it all the way through. Then I looked at the book and said, where are the mechanics? I told a White Wolf fan of this, and he got so pissed at me. He said, Werewolf's the crunchiest, most complex rules game and all that they've got out there. Maybe it was true. I don't know. I had no reference point. But I didn't think there were enough rules in that game to justify calling it a game. But it made lots of people happy. And I haven't had an opportunity to read any of the new World of Darkness books, though some of the intro fiction just turns me off. That much intro fiction is just too much to slog through. I do want to read Promethean some days because it sounds fascinating. I loved what the gentleman said about it. Go listen to his review of Promethean. It was very well done, and he's got a lovely voice. Far better than mine, which is dead tired at the moment. I've been up for almost 24 hours. So, I don't play those games. So I can't tell you if they're better at role-playing or not. I prefer D&D in all its different versions, and my favorite at this point in time is Pathfinder, okay? And I don't think it hinders me in one whit in my ability to role-play. So, I don't know if I can answer your question. I prefer Pathfinder level of complexity. That's my sweet spot. And I don't think it has anything to do with role-playing. I really don't. So I want to know from the RPG community out here on YouTube, do you feel that rules complexity is linked to role-playing quality? That there are games which help role-playing because of their mechanics? Or do you believe that they are divorced? That regardless of the complexity, from simple way over here to complex way over here, that it doesn't matter as long as you've brought your role-playing hat to the table.